We film bike videos in this gym space quite a lot, but have you ever wondered why we have the word strength, power, speed written up there on the back wall? It's not just three random words designed to look cool. It's actually a complete philosophy that we have down here and a process. Starting at the top, strength, power, speed. Strength really is the foundation of all sport. In fact, there's probably two words missing from that list. We should probably start with mobility and probably end with endurance. And all of our gym activities down here are based around this idea and periodizing your training ready to be as fit as possible for the springtime. So right now we kick off our gym activities in about September time, doing lots of mobility, conditioning, balance, proprioception type work, getting us ready to start lifting heavier weights for the strength phase, which starts about now. We're starting to look at technique and that sort of thing, ready for in January, start adding some weight to those barbells. And we really concentrate on the classic power lifting lifts down here for that strength training. So that's deadlift, squat, and bench press. Obviously, there's a whole load of other training that goes around that as well to prepare you for those lifts. And that's part of the actual training itself. But this is something that most people can't do at home because the average male athlete probably needs at least 100 kilos, if not 130 kilos, and that's going to require a squat rack and a really good quality floor as well. So a facility like this is all about helping endurance athletes get access to heavy weights and good coaching. You see, we're not about building big legs like Hank from GCN would suggest. This is about lean muscle, strength, force production. If you think about it, every single sport it requires a human being to exert a force on an object, whether that's pushing down on a pedal, throwing a football or hitting a golf bat, whatever. Your success in that sport depends on how much force you can exert on whatever it is you're doing in that sport. So strength really is the foundation of every sport, and cycling is no exception. After that, we move on to power, and this is where we start to add some velocity. Remember, power is force times velocity, and kettlebells are a fantastic resource for this, and also the turbo trainers in the room behind that door. Now in these activities we try to add a bit more cadence, a bit more speed, a bit more ballistic movement to those movements, and that's where the kettlebells for us really do come into their own. And if you can learn things like kettlebell swing, snatch, get up, you're going to have a fantastic grounding. In fact, kettlebells, if you can't get access to big heavy weights and you want to just do some strength training at home, starting to learn how to use kettlebells. You only need a 12, a 16 and a 20 kilogram. Go and get some coaching, find a strong first coach, and you'll be able to achieve a lot with 3 simple kettlebells, I promise you. After that, we have the speed section, and this is the bit that people get to first without doing the strength and the power bit. And this is what we do on the turbo trainers. We look at the sport that you're trying to train for. We'd write dedicated training programs, whether that's trying to train your VO2 max, your lactate threshold, or your long-term endurance. All of that can be done on a turbo trainer, but now we've got this ability to actually push hard on the pedals, sit really well with a good conditioned body and get the most out of the time on the turbo trainers. And the last thing is endurance. And this is when, come the springtime, we send you all outdoors and you add endurance. Now, obviously, the whole time you're doing this through the winter, we encourage you to do as much low intensity, zone 2 type training as you can on the bike, but recognize that the weather we've got today, that's virtually impossible. So you can do an awful lot of work here in the gym and take on more of a reversed periodization model where we do most of the endurance work in the early spring and do all of this sprint and speed and power work here in the winter inside where it's nice and safe and we can control the risk of injury. So hopefully that was useful to you. Strength, power, speed, it's a philosophy and a process.